Hello and welcome to Devblog for the game I've been working on, Traveller, which is quite late. It's been a while since I did any updates on this, and that's not to indicate a lack of working on things. I've been quite busy, which is why it's taken so long to do an update video in part, and yeah, in part because I've been doing other things as well at the same time. And yeah. So what I'm actually showing off at the moment is one of the things I've spent the most time on, and that's city generation. Basically a system to randomly generate towns, cities, and in a relatively quick manner. And I'm actually going through that here, where you generate a city. I generate a city and can paint on the roads, put up the walls, and it's populated. It's got stores, quest givers, like town-specific buildings are added into the algorithm. With It's not an algorithm. That's just freaking me using jargon words. But yeah, add things like we've got churches and key buildings that aren't part of the generation that are added in to kind of fill in the gaps where the generation is kind of a weird shape, which helps out. And this has just made things a lot easier, a lot more efficient. I can create a new city relatively quickly, and it also means that as new systems are added, a city doesn't need to be like completely scrapped and then built all over again because it's generated. And like if there's a new, system, like I'm going to be working on guard crime and whatnot eventually, and you know that can easily be implemented into the generation, and that doesn't mess with anything else, which is good. The cities have come out generally quite well. Uh, I'm currently going through the wall generation at the moment on this pre-record. I'm just talking over. I don't know how to do this. uh, but yeah, and so the wall generation's pretty. It's manually mostly. I set a length of wall, its rotation, and that allows me to fill that up and have good, well-rounded walls around the city. Putting gates. Afterwards, this is kind of rushed. I didn't this city's not meant for anything other than to show off the process. So roughly just filling in grass in the areas that need it. Whereas in a city that's meant or town that's meant for proper use has more time put into it, more going through different seas to check out different generations and then more fine-tune extra decoration pieces I have. Like I've got fountains and various market types and gardens and wells, and so yeah, we've got foliage in at the end. It's fully fine to walk around and whatnot. Having a little tour towards the end, which works out pretty well. I'm happy with how it turned out. This system, I guess, it works on slopes. I was happy with that. The buildings aligned to the terrain, which is a nice little system. Like certain ones still need adjustments to work naturally, like stairs at the back. But a lot of them have them at the front, so that works out. Uh, it's pretty good. So yeah, I think I'll just let the rest of the little tour of this play out until we move on to the next section of the video being shown off, which if you want to skip to that, it'll start at the on-screen number. Now, city generation isn't the only thing that I've been working on generation wise. Another thing that I'm very happy with and that's very time saving is dungeon generation. And what I'm showing off right now is a cave system that's generated from it's got a array of pieces, exits, entrances, and all kinds of kind of fits them all together and then decorates them with random pieces like little camps, and you can change the type of cave to ice caves, a mossier cave, a more arid cave. And I've actually, it's not shown off here, this is a bit old. I've been redoing the system in large chunks, but this still shows off the general idea and a lot of what's gone into the cave generation, as well as some unique systems like you can actually, if you buy rope while in town, there's certain sections where you need that rope if you want to um, continue on. Quick look at the randomly generated NPCs that will fill the towns. Uh, they're cool. You've got different ages, clothing colors, different hairstyles, and whatnot, which we'll actually see a bit more of them coming up. Which is this last part's just a general show off of the bits and pieces I wanted to show that I haven't gotten around to in the so far this video. Leveling up, I believe, has changed a lot since the last time I showed it off. You starting off, generally this would be in character creation, but as that's not set up at the moment, you just do it when you start. Allocating attributes as well as skills at the beginning, but otherwise skills and attributes level up through use. A bit differently, skills level up as soon as you've learnt that skill. Like, so you keep hitting something with a sword, you keep making potions. Eventually, that's going to level up that skill. But for attributes like running for a long time, taking damage, carrying a lot, you'll actually have to sleep in order for that point update to take effect, which I'll show off soon. I was messing around with that fence there to try and show off the mantling system, which is also in the game. You can actually climb up on things. Having a bit of a go around here, this area really isn't set up to show that off, but there will be a bit more showing it later. You can climb things, which is fun. Buying some gear from the blacksmith here, so I can show off a lot of that. Combat, as well as AI, has been hugely improved. We've got new weapon types like the bow and arrow, which is still very early. It's the animations are all wonk. In fact, most of my animations are wonk because I've kind of had to, piece them together from what I could find. I have had a hard time getting any real animation done. I'm not good at that, as well as modeling. I'm also awful at that. But yeah, we've got inventory overhauls that are nice. We've actually got hotkeys now. So if you see, I'm hotkeying the bow to 1, the shield to 3, and the sword to 2, which is great because it allows you to quickly switch between different equipment pieces, which is fun. I wanted to buy some alchemy stuff so I could have some potions to use as I'm showing off the rest, which I didn't have money for, so I'm searching through the rest of the shop. There's no crime, so I don't know if it's really stealing or not, but going through his belongings and so I can actually sell them back to him. It's a silly way of getting around the current only 100 starting gold that I've got for testing. But yeah, able to go through his stuff and steal that, and I'll sell that to him and buy the last few things I need for the alchemy. And he's got a locked strongbox. I don't have any lockpicks, alright, but I've shown lockpicking off before in previous updates, so that's out there. Uh, I also don't have any lockpicking skill, and that's a hard lock, a challenging lock if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, he's got some armor and a chest. The contents of these containers is randomly generated from a loot table. It randomly picks items to try and fill them out from the different loot tables of different value tiers and different types, from dungeon to household and miscellaneous. And so, pardon me. And so I'm gonna buy some ingredients for him just to craft a couple of potions. The whole equipment and inventory system is you won't see it on the surface, but that's been very optimized. It's a lot easier to do things with it, which means I'm going to set up more hotkeys as well as make other improvements, which I have actually been working on in other ways, which I may get to at some point, but not in this video. Um, Bought the ingredients for him. I'll craft a couple of potions, which won't be great because I have not put any points in alchemy here. She's set up to give you a quest. She's the Ranger Guild leader because I've scrapped the previous quest system to entirely make my own from scratch, which is going well. I'm not showing it off here because it takes a lot of setup and it's not finished, but it's going well. Make a couple of potions to oh, that's going to be an audio nightmare. I think I'm playing that back through. Anywho, we've got some energizing medicine, and so we can actually show the fun part here, which is pulling out the fists. We've got unarmed combat now. You can beat people up. We can also pull out the bow and plink a few arrows into this guy. His AI behavior is actually set to cowardly. Uh, Peasants will run away generally if you attack them, which just means I shot him in the back there. But they've also all recognized me as an enemy now. Different factions will recognize you as either an ally or an enemy. The faction system is quite in depth, and NPCs will recognize each other as either allies or enemies from the different factions. And ideally, once crime is that was loud. Ideally, as crime is implemented, the guards will not be cowardly. They'll attack you, and they will or get you to surrender, and then you will no longer be angered. That faction will no longer be angry at you, showing off a bit of mount, mantling. I don't know. Climbing things there. Just terrorizing some NPCs, showing off the various. You got your sword and arrow and what not. I don't know how to talk about this. It's quite cool though. The animation or the first person animations are a lot better. The arms are, in the first person camera generally quite well. Bow and arrow. I don't have any animations for that. It's actually using the blocking animation for when you're firing an arrow. It's like blocking with a shield, but you're blocking with a bow, and that allows you to fire. We've got blocking with the shield and sword differently as well. So if you've got a shield, it'll block with that. If you've got a sword, it'll block with that, which is cool. Decrease your incoming damage. Fun stuff. That currently works from all angles at the moment though, so that'll need to be fixed. You can retrieve arrows. I believe I showed that a little bit earlier. Using potions, it displays the effects when you're in your inventory as well now. So I've got a potion that's ticking down, and it's going to display that information more easily to the player, which is good. Other than combat improvements, I'm awful at these. I tried scripting them previously, and that was bad, and rambling's also kind of bad, so I thank you for suffering through this. I think I showed, or at least rambled about everything. Yeah, climbing, new, leveling and skills, new factions, AI.
Prepare to
I haven't
die.
shown the open world map, which I've worked on a decent amount, but I'm not sure what to say about that other than it's looking good. I might show a screenshot at the end, but that's not really at a point to really say much yet. So, yeah, that's being worked on. And city generation means I can plop them down all over the place, which is kind of cool. NPCs, I'll add this here, that NPCs will attack, or like cowardly NPCs will attack if you're close enough when you're attacking them. So like if you're up in their face and you're attacking them, they will fight back instead of just constantly running away and basically taking the free damage, which I'm happy with. I think that makes sense. Uh, Unarmed combat is affected by stats, your strength and agility. It's currently a bit bonkers. You can punch really quickly if you max out agility, but you also want strength to do more damage. It'll be balanced eventually. Uh, you've probably noticed some of the funky voice lines from NPCs. I recorded just a couple of taunts. They're kind of not very good, but I wanted some taunts to
die.
see how NPCs, you know, what's like fighting when you hit them. They'll hit you and they'll say "Prepare to die," which I think that's loud. But yeah, and they will make groans when they die, ideally. So yeah, I think this video is 10, 20, no, 20 minutes. Yeah, holy moly. Uh, rambling. Uh, it's not monitor. I don't monitor. I'm not YouTube. I just upload it there. But it is a long video, so sorry for that. And yeah, if you somehow had the patience to make it here, thank you. I hope I didn't disappoint.